There's still people leaving.
It looks like we're good.
I would just wait.
Julie, I know it is.
Yeah. All right.
Hi, welcome to the elementary session of Leadership Week. I hope that you're enjoying things and getting some great information. Let's go ahead and look at the next slide. We're going to be exploring student voice and agency using the following tools and how they support that: Jamboard, Seesaw, Pear Deck, Screencastify, and EdPuzzle. Our first one up is Jamboard. Jamboard is a digital whiteboard which allows for setting a background image, which I would definitely recommend. It has an easy palette of tools, drawing, highlighting, and so on. You can erase, you can move things around, you can add sticky notes, you can add additional images, shapes, text boxes, and just for fun, you get a little laser pointer. I'm not sure why, but we get a little laser pointer in there, so that's fun. Jamboards are best when used as planned ahead and not blank, because you don't want to give a blank page to a student. You want them to know what they're supposed to be doing. Be sure that Jamboard is added to the academic technology menu and requested access for your students from DOTS. If you need help with that, just reach out to your digital coach. The voice connection for Jamboard is an easy way for teachers to collect feedback from students. And we're going to, at this time, invite you to try out a Jamboard. You can either click on the logo up in the upper right corner or on the image itself and bring up a fist to 5. At this point, you can drag any of the yellow sticky notes from the bottom. You can change it to your name if you'd like or not. And just give us a quick indication of where you are in your engagement with our session today. 1 being very low. It's Wednesday, so it's a low energy day, and you've got lots going on at school that's taking your attention. Or all the way up to 5, where you are totally engaged and you're already drafting an email to your digital coach on how to come out to your school and help. You'll want to keep this tab open because we'll be returning to this tab for reflections after each tool. And that's Jamboard.
Yeah.
All right, so I see some of you guys are still on the Jamboard moving around. Once you head back to our Meet window, we're going to move on to talking about how Seesaw can help incorporate student voice in your classroom and classrooms. So a lot of people associate Seesaw with, hey, we went remote for a year and this is the tool we use, and then that's the end of the story, but that really is not the case with Seesaw. Seesaw has so many different capabilities, and it's essentially just a digital portfolio for classrooms. On this page, you'll see there is our all-in-one doc for different resources with Seesaw, and also just a quick video talking about what Seesaw is. I know a lot of teachers and leaders already know what it is because of the pandemic. And then on your right is just like a promotional doc that has connections to videos that show different ways of how teachers can use Seesaw in the classroom. We're also going to go through a couple of ways here and examples on the next slide. So in the classroom, if you want to click for me, Caitlin, using Seesaw as a goal profile, Seesaw is a great way for students to be able to set goals and be able to self-reflect on those goals and they're accountable for it because it's their goals and they're putting their voice with it. So I'm just going to show you a quick example of the first grader. She's going to state her goal and then she's going to do her own reflection on where she is meeting that goal. Maybe not.
Now you have to share a tab, I think, to get the sound from that.
Sorry guys, hold on one second.
My math goal is to learn my plus and minus 2 math facts. I met my goal on 24th, 2019.
You can stop it there. There's another goal underneath it that you can look at, just a writing goal. The student did it on pencil and paper. I know a lot of teachers are concerned about students being on the computer so much and that they're not being able to use a pencil and paper to do the different work, but Seesaw is a great way to collect those pencil and paper work and just take a picture like the second example that was up there. The next one we're going to look at is, it's from Swansea, the student retelling a story with a graphic organizer in Spanish here. So take a look at this one.
El Pedro el conejo.
Para que se escuche.
El Pedro conejo. La mamá les dijo que no se porten mal y que no hagan travesuras.
Additionally, another resource, I'm sorry, we have to kind of go through our tabs to make sure we can hear the sound here, but the next one we're going to look at is student portfolios. This provides an opportunity for not only for families to connect with students in school, but then also build those relationships in your classroom and have students run what's in their portfolios, because they're the ones speaking, they're the ones recording and reflecting on themselves as well. You'll see in a minute in this video, the students talking about things he likes. There's an example in here about what a leader is, what they want to be when they grow up. And the very end, we'll take a look at how there's the opportunity for family connection within Seesaw for their portfolios.
Hey guys, my name is Ariel, and
Just fast forward
I
just a little bit.
like Fortnite.
He gets really excited here, so I'm just gonna fast forward it.
Hey guys, my
Oh,
name is Ariel,
that's weird.
and I like
There it is.
like animals like leopards and like chips. And guess what? I like to play a Chuck E. Cheese. And bye bye. When I grow up, I'm gonna be a vet. Stop. What a good leader is being kind and responsible.
And so here's a student example. She do her portfolio, and then the parent was able to then comment on the portfolio as well, because she's able to see the work. Oh, that's okay. And then as Caitlin's navigating back, we're going to take a look at two other examples. The last two are whenever creating projects or in the classroom or any kind of learning, and it's a chance for an opportunity for students to then say, okay, how are we going to show our learning? I know with Inquire Ed, we have an opportunity at the end where students actually create their end product. So this gives the opportunity for students to then share their ideas of how they want to share their learning and their next steps. And then underneath it, you can see that students are able to then comment on each other to say, yeah, that's a great idea, or yeah, I want to do that too. So here's just a quick example of that.
My idea is to make signs that tell people about endangered animals.
And then the very last example is a way that teachers are able to just quickly incorporate these without making an extra thing, but then allows for the accountability piece for students, but then as well as an opportunity for feedback. So if the teacher's with a small group, this gives them opportunity for later on in the day during their planning, they can go in and see what students were doing during their stations and also provide that feedback to make sure students are on task, as well as that they're understanding the content, and then just add that chance for that communication later on. So here's a quick example.
Oh, a hot dog.
So this was a read to self station. The student was reading the text, took a picture, did a voice recording. So not only could they hear themselves read, but then the teacher can as well to then see where feedback would need to go from there. So the next step we're going to ask for you guys is if you go back to that Jamboard that we shared earlier, and I will throw that here in the chat again, just in case. And you go to the second slide of the Jamboard, you'll see where it says Seesaw Reflection. So just think about these two questions. First, out of those instructional strategies that I just shared, which of those would be best to support your school goals? Or if you're already seeing teachers use Seesaw in your schools, what are some examples of effective instruction you have seen from your teachers that utilize Seesaw? So just take a second here you can use a sticky note and just add things that you're seeing at your school or thoughts from what we just reviewed.
Can you put the secondary link in to was,
The Google Meet secondary link?
yeah.
Yep, got it.
She's at a secondary school. Forget which one. West.
Taylor, you might wanna let her know.
Yeah.
This is the elementary, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just asked.
Stephanie, this is for K5, but we did just put in the 612 link for you, okay? Any of you want to add
So it just popped up on mine. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on that one.
in? Let me reload.
Yeah, try refreshing there. It's weird.
But Felicia's in.
Yeah, I can go ahead and read to what is in here too. That utilizing Seesaw during literacy and math stations to maximize learning, check for understanding on a standard. Teachers are also using it to extend learning with tasks for GT learners. Very cool. Let me just open this up real quick. It is. The link in the chat box.
Yeah,
Oh, lovely.
the one that is good is the Jamboard one. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. There we go. There we go. Okay. Please hold. Love it. I didn't reconnect the new one.
And then there's one other that's popped into the instructional strategies will support schools' equity goals for having students accountable as well.
Oh my gosh, sorry guys.
It's okay. I think that that's pretty much it if we wanted to just hop over to the next one.
Yes. Listen.
All right, I'm Brian Dino, I'm the Northwest Digital Coach for elementary and a few middle schools. Can you hear me okay, Julia and Miss Iglesias? Okay. So here's a slide that shows Pear Deck. We're gonna talk for a few moments about Pear Deck. And this is teacher usage data for the first 2 months of the year, and you can see we've got a lot of Pear Deck use in the district. The number of district presentations in the first 2 months alone were over 27,000 presentations. More importantly, the middle one talks about what is called the moments of engagement. So over 2 million engagement, that's each time they count when a student interacts with the Pear Deck slide, whether they respond to it or draw on it, but over 2 million engagements for the first 2 months of the year. And then with Pear Deck's been in the district for more than 3 years, and you can see the number of engagements all time, 14 million. So a lot of Pear Deck. We have a premium subscription this year, so all the great features of Pear Deck every instructor can use. And I see Miss Moskowitz is still with us. I know you are a Pear Deck fan because I think you actually did a presentation for your staff or maybe for us last year on Pear Deck. So when we have a chance here, maybe you can tell us how you use it in your classroom there at the elementary level. Since it's a few features for other folks not familiar with Pear Deck, it allows you to make any slide deck interactive, so it's an easy lift for a lot of teachers who are already using Google Slides. They can just add some interactivity in any part of their slide decks. And it's a great way to get feedback right to students live or even asynchronously, non-live. And teachers, there's a feature called the teacher dashboard where a teacher can see who's responding, who's not with student names. But the responses they show to the class are anonymous, so that will encourage kids to respond. And a nice feature of Pear Deck is you can also move it into self-paced mode. So you can start kids in live mode where everybody is following along at your pace, and then you can move them to self-paced. And you can also start in self-paced mode, and we're seeing a lot of use of self-paced mode for subplans in the district. So the students come in and they direct their own learning with the self-paced mode for Pear Deck. It's also good for live polling, and we've seen some teachers also just use it to freeze a tab during the live mode too, if they want to redirect attention or really emphasize a topic. Right, and just a few examples here, some social studies examples. Here, this is a slide where students are reflecting on Africa's geography, and they're drawing a map with the drawing tools. And this is easier to do since most of our kids now also have touchscreen Chromebooks. And the bottom one here, they're asked to reflect on the trends they see on the slide, and they write their responses there or type their responses. Other example we have is prompts for ELA. So here a teacher is asking, giving them 2 prompts based on a text, and you can see the kids' responses. Right here is the teacher dashboard interface on the right side here, and this is where a teacher can flag good responses or even hide good responses or comment directly just to the student, and they will see that feedback. So a good interactive tool. Here's a nice way to check for understanding during a lesson. So teachers want to know how is the lesson going or what they might need to change up. Here's some examples here of questions a teacher is asked and the kids respond, and it's you get real-time information on where kids are at in the lesson. And you can customize all those. Pear Deck right now doesn't allow you to edit slides, but you can put in a prompt from any of the 9 prompts you see here. So let's say in the middle of a lesson, you just want to, or at the end of a lesson, you want to say, tell me, draw something of what you've learned here. You could drop in one of these slides very quickly, and all the kids would see that on their screen. So that's a nice interactive prompt. And I'm going to ask you, Julie, can I put you on the spot here? Julia?
Yes, you can put me on the spot.
Can you share maybe, just, I know you're using it down at College View. I know you worked with Aaron last year. Anything you want to add to this for the elementary teachers who are going to see this?
I think it's a really good tool for checks for understanding, and having the pre-made prompts that are the templates are really helpful for especially novice teachers that might not exactly know, you know, how to assess their students. Throughout the lesson, there's so much variety, and it's also a really good way for TESOL, social emotional learning, like starting the lesson by really checking in with your students like we did in this presentation.
Okay. Great, thank you. And Julie mentioned templates. At the very first slide, if you could just go back, we have a Pear Deck all-in-one. And here's our Pear Deck all-in-one. On there is a link to the templates that we just mentioned there. So Pear Deck has a variety of templates for social emotional learning. They had, I just saw today, you could sign up for their daily decks or their weekly decks, and they just had a nice set of decks for Day of the Dead or Dia de las Muertas. So again, especially for novice teachers who just want to, don't have time to design their own slides, those templates are out there and they're linked on the Pear Deck all-in-one. So at this time, we're going to ask you to just reflect.
And if you refresh your browser, the link will go to the correct Jamboard now.
It was just us. I'll throw the link in there again too if you're having to navigate tabs, because that's always fun as the watchman try to do.
Do you wanna read these out loud or you want me to?
Let's see here.
Should we ask them to read what they put? So they can talk a little bit.
I can read what I put.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize we were.
No,
You did. Thank you, Julia.
Okay.
The whole time.
All right, Julia, go for it.
Okay. So we did some Pear Deck work last year, and we're going to work more specifically with it in a subject area, so in math, to see how we can increase rigor and conceptual knowledge so students can have more voice and show their different strategies to show a problem.
Awesome. Elena, do you want to unmute and tell us what you wrote?
Sorry, you said to read it?
Yeah. Do you want to read us what you wrote on the sticky note?
Sure. For me, I never use it, but it looks a very convenient app to check for understanding what Julia said and have students engage at the lessons. So my plan now is I will explore more about it and see what are the options.
Yeah, and since you've never used it before, what school are you at?
I'm at Swansea.
Okay. So who is your digital
Me.
coach? So Matthew's your digital coach, and if you need any support in Pear Deck, please feel free to reach out to him. He'd be happy to help you with that, okay?
Yeah, I remember you. I remember.
All right.
I'm in your chat. So
Yeah.
we have a Swansea chat.
All right, we'll move on to the next tool, just see if I can get it going. Let's see. All right, guys, so next we're going to talk about Screencastify. Screencastify is an all-in-one recording option for students and educators. Students can use Screencastify to explain what they know in their own words. It's easy to use Screencastify with Google Slides to narrate over some slideshows. And then also students can practice fluency by recording themselves while reading. We saw that with Seesaw, and then Screencastify might be another option for us to extend that piece if they're reading an entire book. They can also cut, edit, crop, zoom in, blur, add some text. Really cool features there for you. In the top right corner, you're going to see our Screencastify all-in-one doc, just like our Pear Deck and our Seesaw one were linked. So if you have any questions about certain pieces of what I go over in just a few minutes, that's a great document to use. I'm going to show you 3 examples today. One is going to start off with one of our digital coaches actually utilizing Screencastify within her Seesaw class. This is when she was teaching remote and she was giving instructions on how to access the activity for the day. So using this Screencastify can build that support for those students when you've posted something in Seesaw and it's accessible to those students and families throughout a unit because they can always come back to it, and throughout the class if you'd like to. So let me share the correct, oh no, sorry guys. Share the correct tab.
Today, I am going to show you your assignment for January 5th, 2021. It is adding to 20 on a number line. So the first thing you're going to do is add a response. You're going to click your name. And now you'll see a number line from 0 to 20. And we have some equations above each number line. So the first one says 10 plus 7 equals something. So just like in our lesson, we're going to start at the number 10 because that's the bigger number. Oops. I'm going to circle it, and then I'm going to hop forward 7 hops.
So I would keep going. She just goes through the example for her students. This is a fantastic opportunity for her to be able to come back to the lesson, explain, okay, so remember guys, we start at the bigger number, we take those hops. It's just a reminder video of how to attend to this activity. see. This next one is going to be students actually talking about a math activity that they were doing. And the last one of our digital coaches in here just acknowledged that the last one wasn't an EdPuzzle. I had to cut it down. So it's kind of funny. I'm using two tools in one to cut down on the Screencastify video. But this one is in Screencastify where you can actually watch, and we're going to listen to two students talking about their learning and explaining how they got to the answer that they did get to.
You are going to solve this by graphing the x-intercepts first, which is x plus 5, x minus 3, and x plus 2. X plus 5 is going to equal to negative 5. X minus 3 is going to be positive 3. And x plus 2 is going to be negative 2.
All right, and again, it continues on explaining their understanding. Then she actually is working with a buddy, and they go through how they got to the answer that they got to. So it's pretty awesome to be able to hear student voices as they're learning, especially, I believe Brittany mentioned it during Seesaw activities. If you're in a small group and you're not able to meet with that student right away, it's really awesome to be able to see their recordings of them going back to that learning, so you can check in with them after. And then the last video that we're going to look at is going to be actually a recent video of a 5th grade student narrating over their slideshow, showing you all about digital citizenship. So hold on one moment. Julia, I thought when I saw this example, this would be great since you guys are working on digital citizenship at College View, so something to keep in mind.
Okay, today we will be working on online safety. So, to begin, we are going to do our class learning objective. You will learn about online safety. The 3 topics we are going to talk about are alert, strong, brave. To be alert is to know what is fake and what is not. If you don't recognize an email, then you should delete it. But if they keep coming, you should block it or report it as phishing or spam.
All right, and again, this continues on. This awesome student is explaining her learning as she went along, what she learned about digital citizenship and how important it is that we stay safe while on the internet. So Screencastify is just an amazing tool for us to be able to use for student voice and agency. It allows them to express themselves, to be able to communicate, especially in a setting where, most of us are in person right now, but being able to come back to it and actually identify their learning afterwards is pretty awesome as well. So, go back. So again, Screencastify might be new to both of you. So one thing that I'm just wondering is kind of what of these instructional strategies do you think that you could best support in your school goals? I think it'd be pretty awesome to understand a little bit more about how this could help out your teachers and your students in the future. So if you want to click on the link, or Brittany just put it back in the chat for our Jamboard, that way we can see what are some ways that you think you could use Screencastify in your school. just wondering. I don't know which one of you added that in, but if you'd like to share.
I can read it.
Thanks, Julia.
Yeah, we use these a lot during hybrid remote instruction of just explaining what the lesson was and posting it so students could come back to it. I've definitely done this first as a substitute, like if I wanted to explain the task and then post this in Seesaw that students could refer back to, reading a text or something and students being able to see it directly. And then I think a next step would be having students narrate over it in Google Slides if they use that tool.
Absolutely. Elena, you want to share?
Sure. So I use it a lot when the pandemic starts through the hybrid and virtual teaching. I was in a different school, so now it made me think because we are working. I'm in 4th grade teaching half day, so I'm teaching. So we are doing some slides, some presentations. So I was thinking that might be a good resource for students to start putting like the voice in their presentations and like the example you showed to us.
Absolutely. So one more thing that I didn't mention that you, kind of both tagged on is that student voice, like talking over slides in particular. One of the things that I personally have used this with my students was having them hear their presentations prior to giving, like if they decided to give presentation to the class, prior to actually giving it to the class so they understood and can go back and be like, oh, I really fumbled on this part. I really need to look back at this slide. Or especially, I've done it also in my writing class. And so they'd be writing and they would, read it back to themselves and be able to actually hear, oh, wait, I missed a word or I, need to put a period here. These are also great options for them to be able to kind of check themselves as well. Great for collaboration with each other, but also just for themselves to be able to hear how much they're growing inside of their classroom. So pretty awesome. Oh. I did it again, sorry. All right,
so the last resource we're gonna look at is called EdPuzzle, and EdPuzzle is an easy to use platform that allows teachers to engage every student using videos, and probably videos that they're already utilizing in the classroom, videos from YouTube or Google Drive, TED Talks. So teachers can take those videos and embed them into EdPuzzle and assign those videos to students, and then they can ask questions to check for understanding or add in notes from the videos if they wanted to highlight a specific point in the video for students to go back and reference. And EdPuzzle is really cool because there's a prevent skipping feature, so students have to watch the entire video and answer the questions. They can't just skip through it, which is great. And then also within EdPuzzle, teachers are able to share their videos that they create with the questions and share those assignments across the district and add them to the DPS EdPuzzle library so that other teachers can see what they are working on. Here we have the EdPuzzle all-in-one, which kind of goes into depth a little bit more about what EdPuzzle is and how to get started with teachers setting up and creating their accounts. So this is what EdPuzzle would look like if a teacher was going to have a video and assign it to their students. So for instance, this is one, if you take a mouse to school, this is a story that a teacher could take from YouTube, and then they can assign that story to their students and then add questions to it. There's multiple choice questions they can add, open-ended questions, or they can even add audio notes for students to be able to listen to. And then students have the option of responding to the questions with audio as well, so they can answer with their voice instead of typing it in if they had issues with like typing or just wanted to be able to add their voice note. So if you want to click it, I'll just take a second to look at what that would look like. So this is a story from YouTube within EdPuzzle.
Do you want me to have it play?
Yeah, you can play it for a second.
It's not gonna have audio because I'm on the window, but just for you guys to be able to see what it looks like with the questions.
So it'll pause wherever there's a question that the teacher puts in, and it gives the students an opportunity to answer the question. And then once they put their answer in, they can go ahead and submit it, and then it'll just keep going through throughout the video for students to be able to listen to the story and answer those questions.
Do you want me to go back?
Yep, you can go back. So that's one cool feature within EdPuzzle, just being able to add in those questions, and there are different types of questions that you can add in as well. Another cool feature that was just added into EdPuzzle is called Student Project. And this allows students to be able to find and edit their own videos and even record and upload them to the platform. And some examples of student projects that teachers could have their students do would be asking them to record themselves reciting a poem that they've memorized, reading a book, or explaining how to do a math problem. And you can even get the parents involved with this by having the students ask their parents to film them or watching them and help them edit and fine tune their videos using a lot of the EdPuzzle editing tools, which are really great for students. So within EdPuzzle, after students watch the videos, there is an option for teachers to go in and look at the data from those videos. Teachers can see like what percentage of the videos students have watched, how many of the answers they got correct, how much time they spent on the video, did they turn it in? And teachers can take that data to further drive their instruction, or to go back and see, okay, I know this, like half of the class didn't get this question right. I need to clarify some misconceptions about this, and to also just check for understanding. So it's really great that there is the data piece embedded within EdPuzzle. And lastly, EdPuzzle works for all ages. The 3 exciting ways that teachers can use it with their students is in classic mode, where students can work individually in class or at home to kind of engage in their learning, and this is more self-paced. You also have open class mode, which is great for the younger students. And this allows for the students to participate without needing a username or a password, which can be hard for the younger students to try to memorize and put in. And then the last one is the live mode, which you can spark discussion and engage the class right within real time in the classroom and have them watch live, and then they can answer the questions right on their own device. And then right there in the classroom, you can have a discussion as you are going through that video within EdPuzzle. So again, on the Jamboard, we have our EdPuzzle reflection. Which of these instructional strategies will best support your school goals? Or if you've seen teachers already utilizing EdPuzzle, what are some of the examples that you've seen that are effective? We'll give you a few minutes to respond.
And I'll throw that back in chat again, just in case.
Thank you. All right, looks like we have some answers coming in. If you'd like to jump in and kind of explain what you put, that would be awesome.
So Caitlin and I have talked about using this with our new literacy curriculum and having the pre-recorded videos of the readings and then checking for comprehension with the questions in EdPuzzle.
We were just discussing how excited we are for that. Helena, do you want to share?
Sure. So I don't really know about this app, so I really want to go and explore and go deeper with this, because I think I don't know, just was impressed about how many things you can do with this, and also it has an opportunity like what you said, like put the videos and then put the question through the video, and it might be a way to keep students engaged. And the last part you show us, like the check for understanding, see who is watching the video, how much time they are spending, etc., etc. So yeah.
If you use like any brain pop videos or like any videos from honestly any educational site, it's really awesome to be able to bring it into EdPuzzle and then stop intermittently and ask questions. I've had in the past where like with brain pop in particular, you have to ask the questions afterwards. And then kids, just kind of forget what they're learning. And so it's really great to stop and pause for a moment, let them think, and then come back to the video and keep going. So that's pretty awesome too.
And I love that she put as a great resource for equity for that.
Absolutely.
That is amazing that students can have that option to like record themselves with their answers, and then just the questions that you could put in really can touch on a lot of topics and get those discussions going. So I love that. I love that she put that. One
of the extra pieces that on here, just real quick on that image from if you take a mouse to school, one of the cool things here, so when you put in that multiple choice question or open-ended question and you answer the question, I guess I should have brought up the EdPuzzle, sorry. Here. One of the cool things is they can actually rewatch it. That's another equity piece, is like if students need a little bit more time to process. I know I'm not a person that can just like immediately answer questions sometimes. And so maybe I need to go back and rewatch. Maybe I need to think about it, that kind of thing. That's also a great piece to it.
Right.
So see you.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so we went through a lot of tools just now. We just wanted to give you some time to think about these tools and strategies, and just think about the couple of questions we have on the screen. What applications are you already using to promote student voice, and what ideas from today's presentation do you think you would like to take back to the teachers at your school? Yeah, and we'll just, think through it, and then we'll just kind of talk as a whole group.
Yeah, there's no Jamboard slide for this one. This is more of just a conversation.
Right.
We kind of heard from Julia. We know she's using Seesaw.
Go ahead, Julia, you're okay.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I think a lot of educators are familiar with these tools and they used them last year, and I think it's just helping them figure out when does it make sense for in their day that they want to start trying to use it with in-person instruction all the time.
Do you feel like, is there one tool in particular, I think you and I talked a little bit about this, but one tool in particular that you feel like your teachers are more comfortable with, that like you could always, like maybe Pear Deck since you're part of that crew, or do you feel like there's something that you could bring back, and maybe one of the strategies that we talked about in here that could kind of promote for teachers to want to use it a little bit more frequently?
I think teachers are very familiar with Seesaw, and I think leveraging that to continue to collect student data throughout the school year and student work, and then including things like, let's add a Jamboard in your literacy lesson, or how can we use EdPuzzle and math in a station or something like that.
Absolutely.
I was just going to add on a little bit to what you said, Julia, around collecting the data with Seesaw. If teachers are using it, it's also a great tool for like when parent-teacher conferences come, to be able to just like share the direct link to student work to show it. And then you can also have, since that digital portfolio, it's always there, so you can have two links from beginning of year, end of year, and say like, hey, this was your child beginning of year, and this is where they're at now. You can actually physically see the growth rather than just sharing like a number or a score. They can physically see the difference in the student work sample when you're using Seesaw. And for data team meetings, like I would have a folder that I would have, so when students did work that I felt would be good to share my data team meetings, I would add it to that folder. So when we had data team meetings, it wasn't like, where's that student work? And I was shuffling through the papers. I would just open that folder and I had that assignment from each student to easily then reflect on and go back to, rather than then losing that assignment to reflect on later on in data team meetings. So just another good tool to add on to what you said.
Lana, is there anything that you're using in your school right now, like in particular, or anything that you feel most excited to bring back to teachers?
So, because I told you I'm new at Swansea, so I have a connection with Julia last year, and the other school we were using a lot Seesaw.
Mhm.
So I don't know, in Swansea I didn't explore about. So one question is about explore what teachers are using in here in Swansea. That will be my next step. Here in the 4th grade, we are using now Google Class a lot for the writing submissions. And also we use another one that you didn't mention here is Nearpod to have students engage. But I found that maybe I can go and explore the ones that you show to us today about Pear Deck, Jamboard, and Puzzle. I think that might be, yeah. I told you my next step may be exploring what they are using here and see what would be a app to suggest to other teachers to use in their classrooms. Yeah.
Absolutely. Nearpod is very similar to Pear Deck. There's a lot of cool tools that are similar between the two, so that could be a great place since your school's already using Nearpod, maybe introducing Pear Deck as another option as well. I'm not sure. I'm assuming that probably means that your school has a license for Nearpod, but another great option. No, okay, just some teachers are using it. Okay, awesome.
I would just add, I used to use Nearpod, and then, we didn't have access to like the paid version. And so something that really switched for our teachers was Pear Deck is already paid for by the district, and you get access to all the premium tools. So that's kind of a nice feature.
You said it perfectly, Julia. Thank you.
Let those teachers know.
So thank you both for joining our session. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today and hearing from you what's going on in your schools. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us for anything you might need. And then you have access, you both have a link to this slide deck, so you could watch those videos in their entirety. We kind of cut some of the videos short, but all the links are in the deck as well. And yeah, we just want to make sure also that if there's anything, we're going to be sticking around. If there's anything you want to chat with us about, we'll be here. And want to make sure you get credit. So you see on this slide, just to make sure you get credit for being here today, if you haven't already done this. And
here's the link, direct link to the survey and feedback that you'll have to do to get credit. It's in this course if you go to Schoology, but I just grabbed it out of the course and put it here in the chat. So if you just want quick access, you can click that to get credit and provide feedback.
And inside the Schoology course, you'll find the deck for K-5 and the deck for 6-12, and a link to a few resources, which are also on the next slide in our deck. So how to find your coach, all of our all-in-ones are in one page now. And you can see that the scope and sequence and overview of that PL series and PDU, and also a link if you want to look at that dashboard on your own, the digital coaching team dashboard that shows the coaching sessions. There's a link to that. You can drill down by region, by school. Any questions for us?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much too. I really enjoyed the presentation, and you opened me a new apps, a new world for apps and explore and show to school and team.
We appreciate you both being so open to sharing too. That was really nice to be able to have a small setting to be able to talk and see what your schools are doing for sure.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your week. Peace, love, and hair, please.
There we go. Okay.
What we do?